I know kind of the big focus for Impact at the moment, obviously, is Bound for Glory, which you've got upcoming in a few weeks. Obviously, you've got a big title match on that show itself. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the event and how you feel about, because obviously it is a big event for the company, but also because you're moving away from Florida, you're doing the show in Canada. I mean, how do you view it from your point of view?
I'm super excited. I'm super excited to get out of the impact zone. No offense, impact zone, but I do feel that as a company, in order to grow, we need to branch out. We need to go see our fans all over the world. We have people everywhere that are dying to see us, and it's been proven in the other shows that we've done recently. So, like when we went to India, when we just did, Ali and Rosemary and I were just on BCW in Windsor, and for a taping, and those fans were nuts. Like, they were just insane, and it just solidified what I believed in, that we need to branch out and we need to get out in front of other fans because they never get to see us. So they have like this pent up aggression, and they just go crazy. It's awesome.
Do you think as well it's kind of like just a fact of diminishing returns? Because if you, as a professional wrestler, if you do perform in the same building over and over again, and you get similar fans, those fans will just, they will be less excited just because they're so used to doing it and so used to seeing you guys.
Yeah, it's almost like they're spoiled in a sense, and I feel like I'm the champion. I can say that. I have said that before, and those fans are awesome. They are diehard. They're some of the same people come to every single show, and they will be there for the whole taping. So they're there for like sometimes a week straight. But that does happen. They become desensitized. So like they're happy to be there and they keep coming, but they're also like, if fans in India were at like a 10, I would say that the ones in the impact zone are sometimes at like a 3.
Well, that's
just
fair.
Because they know they're going to see us again.
That's it. It's like when you live near the beach, right? When you live near the beach, you don't appreciate the ocean because you see it all the time.
Yeah, like all my friends in Florida, I'm like, yeah, let's go to the beach. And they're like, like I do that every day.
Exactly.
I'm like,
And how important do you think, I know that no one really knows sort of where your new quote-unquote home base will be, but do you think like there's a market to kind of make Canada that home base? Because while there's kind of loads of, I don't want to call them smaller promotions, but independent promotions, do you think that Impact Wrestling could make Canada their sort of unofficial HQ almost?
I definitely think that they could. Absolutely. Anthem is in Toronto. I don't see why not. I definitely think that regardless of where our headquarters is, as long as we keep moving the shows, I think that is ideal.
And is that what you see going forward? Do you think you'll be performing kind of all over the States and coming over to the UK and, trying to run, like, for lack of a better term, the more traditional sort of wrestling promotion model that, we as fans are all used to?
I would say so. I mean, there's no telling for sure until something's announced, but it definitely seems like we're moving in that direction.
Yeah, especially because when you guys come over to the UK, I've been in some of those audiences, and again, like you said, they do react to you, with this kind of pent up aggression and this almost raw, and I think that probably it helps the atmosphere for the fans, and I imagine it helps the atmosphere for the wrestlers as well.
Oh, absolutely. We were in a match for an independent promotion in Chicago, Shimmer, and I don't know what happened in this match, but it was me versus Mia Yim versus Shaz McKenzie versus Veda Scott. And the fans, for some reason, decided that they were going to be absolutely ridiculous for the entire match. And it started with the introductions where they introduced the ref and everyone booed. Like everyone was like standing and yelling as loud as they could. And then they kept doing it throughout the entire match. And even the fans that were there say, like, I don't know what happened, but that was like the craziest atmosphere I've ever been a part of. And it makes everyone enjoy themselves so much more. I don't see why people don't do that all the time.
No, I'm like that. Because I think, because when you're in the crowd as well and other people are reacting that way, like you say, it's more fun for the fans as well. So like, why don't we just do this all the time? And we'll make every show amazing.
Exactly.
And obviously, the other big, once Bound for Glory, well, no, I mean, even before Bound for Glory is kind of done and dusted. The other big thing that you guys are pushing at the moment is the Global Wrestling Network. These kind of streaming services now have become part and parcel. Any kind of wrestling company that's got any kind of name seems to be latching on to the fact that, in 2017, we need a streaming service. I mean, how important do you think it is for the promotion and for the future of the promotion over the next few months and years?
I think it's important not just for professional wrestling, but really just anything on media. Because, I mean, if you even look at cable versus Netflix things like that now, you know? I think that streaming is the future just in general for professional wrestling, also just for anything in the media. I definitely think that it's something that we had to get on, because I think that it's just the future of anything on TV. People don't buy cable like they used to. Everyone wants to stream things. They want to watch Netflix. They want to. Everyone has this. You know, technology has just advanced to where everyone wants things now. They don't want to wait. So I really think that that's the way to go.
Yeah, and do you think as well that it will help? You can't. I mean, obviously, you have a lot of worldwide reach at the moment anyway, because you've got TV deals in different countries. But now, theoretically, you can reach anyone who's got a smartphone in their hand. So do you kind of see that as the next wave of, making sure people know about Impact and, getting into people's houses?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think so.
The other sort of big change that's been going on Impact as well is, it's nice to see as well, especially with everything that's been going on in professional wrestling the last few years. And the Knockouts have been main eventing a lot of the shows over the last few months. Now, ever since kind of WWE made this big push to pretend that they invented women's wrestling, it does seem to have had a knock-on effect elsewhere. I mean, how do you see kind of the women's wrestling scene in 2017? And do you think there has been a shift over the last couple of years?
I definitely think that there's been a shift. The Knockouts, I don't know. People want to talk about like the women's revolution and whatnot. The Knockouts started that back in like 2009.
Yeah, I agree.
The hottest thing on TV, bar none. Like, not as across companies and even within Impact Wrestling, they were the hottest thing. They were the main event. And then there was this I don't know, things kind of shifted over the years, and now I feel like the Knockouts are finally getting back to that. The Knockouts were doing things that only men were doing on TV back in 2008 to 2010, when the divas were just running around in bikinis.
All those divisions are important to promotion, but right now, sort of in the modern day, like, how important do you, as a champion as well, how important do you think the Knockout division is to Impact, especially sort of going forward and trying to build the brand?
Oh, it is dire that the Knockouts are built just like anyone else, any other division in the company. And I think that we have, in a sense, spoken for ourselves and really made that happen, because you can't keep talent down. Only for so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really think that all of us have stepped our game up to where it was something that couldn't go unnoticed.
Absolutely. Do you feel like, as the champion, do you feel like you carry more of that responsibility, or is it still more of a team effort to ensure that, everyone's putting on the best matches they can?
Well, ultimately, it is everyone's individual responsibility, but I do definitely feel a huge responsibility as champion. I do feel that as champion, you are the face of the company, and it is your responsibility to carry the company or the division or whatever it may be. And I definitely feel that weight on my shoulders.
It's not like this is your sort of first rodeo, as they say as well. You've wrestled all over the world, and you've been in Japan, America, all kinds of stuff. How did that sort of help develop you into the wrestler you are today? And did when you did end in Impact a couple of years ago, did you kind of feel like that experience paid off?
Oh, 100%. I think that, especially when I first came to Impact, I feel like I filled a void that they were missing. And I definitely feel that, I mean, it goes without saying, without my experience before that, I would not be the person I am today, or the wrestler I am today. And that would have changed my experience dramatically. Being a wrestler that went all over the world, and to Japan and China and England and all the different countries, it really does shape you. And there are so many different styles of wrestling, and being able to adapt to that is very important.
I think that's true, especially at the moment with the independent scene, obviously today and over the last couple of years has just grown and grown to the point where all those companies almost feel like one big organization. I mean, was there a sort of a territory that you preferred wrestling in? Like, did you prefer it when you were in Japan? Did you prefer it in America? Or did you really kind of feel like, you can go anywhere and adapt to that style and then come away from it a better technician and a better performer?
That's hard to say. I really do. I mean, deep down, I really did feel that I could fit anywhere, but I think anyone would say that. So I did really enjoy Japan, because I felt that was much more my style of being very hard hitting and less fancy stuff. You know what I mean? I definitely feel that I am more of a brawler, and I think that their culture and their style fit me better. But learning to be more than just a brawler was also very important to my career.
As a small aside, only because a lot of people, the fans of WhatCulture know, I'm actually I am training to be a professional wrestler at the moment. Now, when you were training though, Like, did you have it in your head that, yeah, I'm going to be more of a brawler, or, I'm going to sort of, I'm going to lean into this more? I mean, did you have an idea of what kind of wrestler you wanted to be when you were training? Because for me at the moment, it's just like, it's such hard work. I can't even imagine coming up with a style. So when did you kind of know, I know which kind of wrestler I'd like to be, or at least what I think I'll be good at?
I definitely had no idea what I was doing at all. When I started, it was much more of learning the basics and learning psychology and all the other stuff that goes along with it. And I feel that your style and your character is something that should develop organically. Yeah. So I don't think that, I mean, if you have an idea, sure, go with it and see if it works. But I think that the hard part for some people is they have this idea in their head of what they want to be, and it's just not what fits, or it's not really what fits their capabilities. And so they keep trying to be this thing that they're not. And I see a lot of people do that with, especially with like Joshi style. So like a lot of women will try to be like the Joshi style wrestlers, or they want to do fancy like luchadora stuff. And I'm like, you can't do it though. Like, it doesn't look good. So you need to either go back to training and you need to learn it, or you need to stop doing it. So it's stuff like that where you need to know your limitations and work with what you have. Yeah. And I think character and style will develop organically.
And how long do you think it took you from kind of, we'll say, graduating from the training ranks to having matches to actually where you kind of woke up one day and went, I know the wrestler I am and I know the wrestler that I want to be? I mean, was it months, years?
I feel like that just happened last year.
Oh, really? Oh, what was that?
When I first started training, I had my first match within 6 months, which is way too early. But granted, I was only wrestling for the promotion that I trained with. So it was a very small indie. It wasn't like I was going out and going to other shows. But they just put me on their show so I could get in front of the audience. And I wrestled for that company for probably like a year before I ever went anywhere on the indies.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I really think it took me years of being on the indies to kind of develop like a style and a confidence. I feel like the confidence is probably the most important part.
I think so too. And I think, they always say when you start wrestling in front of a crowd, you almost have to reset and start again. So it must be, it must be a case of at the time feeling quite intimidated, but now you must look back and feel, I'm sure, I know that, all wrestlers, of course, still have a lot to learn and stuff, but you must feel exceptionally proud of everything you've achieved.
I do. I feel proud. I'm very grateful for the experiences that I've had. I am glad that, I remember when I first started wrestling, for my very first match, my stomach hurt so bad. Like, I had butterflies that was so bad that I felt like I could not even go out from behind the curtain. And I remember thinking, I just cannot wait for this feeling to be gone. Yeah. I cannot wait to not feel this way anymore. And I can tell you that it never fully goes away. It never fully goes away if you care. I have had times where I haven't had that feeling, and it definitely gets better. But there are some matches where you just get that same feeling like it's your very first match and you're nervous, and I hate that feeling. It's like crippling.
Do you think it can help you a little bit as well, though? Like give you, sort of G you up, get you focused, make sure you're on top of your game?
Yeah, definitely. I think it depends on how you handle it. So some people, I see them walking backstage, slapping themselves in the head and like getting all hyped up, and just being crazy in general. I'm much more of a channeler. I kind of channel the energy. And I do feel very nervous, and that's probably why, because I'm not exerting it. But once I walk through the curtain, I feel like I am a completely different person. I know, like I'll be standing backstage and I feel that butterfly feeling and I hate it. And I know that once I walk through the curtain, it's going to go away and I'm going to be Sienna.
That's awesome. And you mentioned as well that last year sort of something changed when you kind of developed that confidence. Was it a specific incident, or was it just sort of like building up over the the years you had been working everywhere?
I think it's just the confidence clicks in your head and you realize, I can do this. I've been in crazier situations. I've been all over the world. There's no reason that this is going to defeat me, things like that.
I'm not sure if you had the, this plan, in 5 years, I'm going to be this champion. In 10 years, I'm going to be that champion. But from where you are now and from what you've learned, do you have a 5-year plan? Do you have any specific wrestling goals that are still on your list?
I wouldn't say I have a 5-year plan. I know that I want to elevate women's wrestling, and in particular the knockouts, to a level that they haven't seen at least in many years. Yeah. I want the knockouts to be the hottest thing on TV again, regardless of gender.
And do you think that the current roster that Impact has, would you like more people to come in, or are you happy to kind of work with the talent they've got in the moment?
I'm happy to work with who we have, because I feel like we have a lot of driven, focused individuals that all have the same goal in mind, and that's important. have a locker room where we really don't tolerate nonsense.
Yeah.
And so when you bring more people in, there's a higher risk of nonsense coming in.
Absolutely.
But I also, of course, want more talented individuals because that's going to make us stronger in the long run.
Going sort of right back to day one as well, what was it that got you into pro wrestling? Was it a match, or you were just flicking through the TV and you saw the craziness and got involved?
My dad used to watch wrestling, and I remember those are my earliest memories of watching wrestling, though I really don't remember much from that time. And then when I grew up, my siblings and I watched a lot of wrestling, and we are Attitude Era babies.
Right. Because I mean, loads of people obviously do that, but what was it that, you know, loads of people watch wrestling and think, oh, I'd love to do that, and then they forget about it. You know, what was it you went, no, I'm going to go. I'm going to get involved. I'm going to try my hand at this.
I really think that it was Lita.
Oh, really?
That's just like the first thing that pops into my head, because I remember being 12 and I remember being obsessed with her and having like her posters everywhere. And I remember telling my mom, I'm going to be a professional wrestler. And she's like, okay, you know, like it'll wear off. And it did for a while. Like when I was in high school, I kind of like stopped watching a little bit. And that was also around like the Diva Search time. And I really wasn't interested. And then after high school, I got back into it.
And did you ever have a backup plan? Or from that point on, was it, nope, it's wrestling or bust?
I really didn't have a backup plan. I went to college for a few years. I went to the University of Michigan, and I did not find anything that I even wanted to do at all. So I enjoyed my classes, but I was like, I don't want to do this for a living.
Yeah, of course. And then luckily wrestling paid off. So I guess that was okay. And just before I let you go as well, obviously Impact /TNA/GFW, I mean, it's been through a lot of changes over the last few years. I mean, for you, as someone that's kind of been there through a lot of that, where would you like the company to go now? And kind of what are your hopes and expectations for sort of the rest of 2017 and into 2018?
I'm just hoping that they remain open-minded, as they have been, and willing to take advantage of situations, matches, characters, whatever it may be, that other companies on TV will not do. I think that sets us apart, and that puts us ahead. And I'm willing to break barriers to do so.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe below, and if you're looking for more content like this, then try a few things that are floating about around my ears. It might be fun. I can't promise it though, but it might be.